The best game of week 0 and the first game of the 2023 college football season won't even take place in the United States. Instead, we head to Ireland for the 96th meeting between Navy and Notre Dame. And to me, guys, there's no better way to kick off the college football season. Overseas, neutral site game, a rivalry game, and an exciting time for both programs as Navy begins the Brian Newberry era, their new head coach. Notre Dame begins their quest to reach the college football playoff now with Sam Hartman as their quarterback. And today, guys, we're here to break down everything you need to know about this game, the keys to winning this game, and of course, who will take home the win in Ireland. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com, so you can receive the spread pick for every college football game you want. It's going to be right over there over on thegridironexpert.com, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years. Best picks in the country, one of the lowest prices in the country, one where we can guarantee you a winning record, money right back in your pocket, and the best customer service that any handicapper in the world can give you. We can guarantee you that, so go check it out down in the description. Our Patreon account for exclusive college football content year-round, and send us some gear. Our Gridiron Nation continues to grow. We've got pennants, we've got helmets. Definitely need some more helmets over on the shelf. So send us some gear for your favorite team down to the mailing address in the description below. Love to get some Navy gear, love to get some Notre Dame gear, whoever it may be. We want to represent your team in every single video all season long. So let's take a look at this game, guys. Navy and number 13 Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, coming in as a top 15 team, kicking off the college football season. When you take a look at history, right? I mean, Notre Dame has absolutely dominated this series. They've won 10 of the last 11 games. And we'll talk about the series edge overall here in just a little bit. But Navy coming into this year fresh off a 4-8 season, one where they had like 4 one-possession losses, guys. So Navy was a lot better than their final record indicated. Notre Dame, on the other hand, started slow, 0-2, finished the year, though, 9-4 with that thrilling bowl win over South Carolina. Last year, Notre Dame did get the win over Navy 35-32, led 35-13 at halftime, allowed the midshipmen to crawl back into it, make it interesting, but Notre Dame ultimately holding on for the win. You take a look at the two offenses coming into this game. We'll start with Navy, the designated road team heading into Ireland. You know, obviously Navy making a switch offensively. It's still a team that's going to be very run-heavy, but the teams such as Navy, Army, Air Force that were very triple option-heavy can no longer do that. So Navy's still going to be running the ball a lot more than they pass it, but you're going to see these military academies airing it out a little bit more than we've seen in years past. Not just from Navy, but again, Army and Air Force as well. 8 starters back offensively for the midshipmen, with Daba Fofana returning after rushing for 819 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. He's obviously going to be the leader, the workhorse of this offense, one that really needs to find some improvement after averaging just 21.9 points per game and only 327 yards per game. 241 of those, of course, coming on the ground. The quarterback position, kind of up in the air, right? They've got a lot of guys that can play that position well. They've got Tedros Gleaton. They've got Xavier Arline, who had 376 rushing yards last year. They have Ty Lavatai, who was arguably the best passer on the team, but was injured last year in that game against Temple. So you've got a lot of guys for Navy that can play the quarterback position, that can run the ball, but it's obviously up to Brian Newberry on who he's going to use for the majority of the year, and it's going to fit this offensive scheme the best. And many would say that it might be Ty Lavatai that could end up being that guy. You take a look at Notre Dame. This is a team that offensively kind of started slow last year, trying to struggle to find their rhythm, especially after the injury to Tyler Buckner, who's now at Alabama, but they figured things out. The Fighting Irish averaged 31.8 points per game, 396 yards per game, and now have an opportunity to be 10 times better with the addition of Sam Hartman from Wake Forest. Sam Hartman now going to be the quarterback for Notre Dame after throwing for over 12,900 yards, 12,967 to be exact, at Wake Forest. 110 touchdowns and 45 starts with the Demon Deacons. Will go down as one of the best quarterbacks in not just Wake Forest history, but ACC history as a whole. Hartman is now paired with one of the best offensive lines in the entire country. He's got Audric Estime at his disposal at running back after rushing for over 900 yards and 11 touchdowns last year. And their number 2 wide receiver from last year returns in Jaden Thomas. This Notre Dame offense, guys, is going to be really, really good, very, very dangerous. And that addition of Sam Hartman is an absolute game changer that could send them over the edge to the college football playoff. Defensively, Notre Dame, we know, is a very good team. They're very disciplined defensively. We know that the strength of them. Why? Well, their head coach, Marcus Freeman, is a defensive-minded coach. And we saw that last year, right? His first full year with the Fighting Irish, the defense was pretty dang solid, allowing just 23 points per game, just 198 passing yards per game. Now 8 starters are back. 8 starters are back for Notre Dame on defense, and they're loaded just about at every single level, but especially in the secondary, which kind of benefits them in this game against Navy, but not so much. I think to beat Navy, you're going to need to be loaded up on that front 7 to really create pressure on a new quarterback and obviously stuff the run. Notre Dame, historically, has been able to do that against the midshipmen and should be able to do that once again this year. Their top 4 tacklers as a whole do return, led by J.T. Bertrand at linebacker. This is one of the best linebacking corps in the entire country, and this is going to be a team, guys, that kind of is going to try to force Navy to throw. This is a team that we said with Navy is run heavy, but it's going to want to throw it a little bit more, but not ideally. Like, they're not going to want to throw it all the time. So Notre Dame is going to shut down the run. We believe that. They're going to force Navy to pass, and that's going to force Navy to pass against one of the better secondaries in the country, led by a guy in Benjamin Morrison, who led the team with 6 interceptions last year. So Notre Dame has got the talent defensively to shut down the midshipmen, but Navy, on the other hand, some would argue, could have the talent to slow down Notre Dame offensively. Take a look at Navy. 9 starters back on the defensive side of the ball. 17 starters as a whole back for Navy this year, which, as we've mentioned in previous videos, very unheard of, very rare for military academies to have that many returning starters. But 9 back on defense for Navy after giving up just 24.3 points per game, 339 yards per game, and just 89 rushing yards per game. So this is a Navy team that, if their rushing defense remains as good as it was last year, maybe even better, Brian Newberry, remember, was the defensive coordinator for Navy last year, has an opportunity to shut down that Notre Dame ground game and force Sam Hartman to win the game through the air. The problem is, he can do that, right? I mean, Sam Hartman is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So you take away the run game, that's not ideal for Notre Dame. They can't be multidimensional, but they've got a guy that they're very confident in and a guy that has experience and can go out and just win it solely by himself. The secondary for Navy guys allowed 250 passing yards per game, including 269 passing yards to Notre Dame in last year's meeting. So, again, I don't know if that's really what Navy needs right here. This is arguably, Sam Hartman and Notre Dame is arguably the best passing attack that Navy is going to see all year long. Arguably was one of, if not the best passing attack they saw all year last year, and they didn't even have Sam Hartman. So the key for Navy more than anything is stop the run. You got to find a way to make them one-dimensional somehow. But in doing so, then start creating pressure on Sam Hartman. Force him into mistakes. Force turnovers. We've seen that a couple times throughout Hartman's career where if you can rattle him, he's going to make some mistakes. Some strip sacks, some poor errant throws that lead to interceptions or quick turnovers. That's going to be the key for Navy, is finding a way to rattle Hartman early and often. And that's really the only way they're going to find a way to win this game. So ultimately, guys, what is going to happen, right? I mean, God, you got to say the Fighting Irish, in a way, even though the game's in Ireland, seem to have home field advantage, right? The Fighting Irish in Ireland. How fitting is that? But in all seriousness, guys, there is no doubt about it that Notre Dame is the better team. They are the better team offensively. They are the better team defensively. They are the better team when it comes to the coaching staff. Marcus Freeman now in his 2nd full year with Notre Dame. Brian Newberry now stepping into his 1st role as a head coach. They've got the edge everywhere. Notre Dame historically owns the edge everywhere. They've won 10 of the last 11 against Navy. They've won 54 of the last 58 games against Navy. 54 of the last 58 against the midshipmen, owning an 81-13-1 edge over Navy. It's an unbelievable mark, guys. One of the most lopsided rivalry games in all of college football. Notre Dame is going to add to that. Notre Dame is going to add to that total, make it 82-13-1, make it 11 of the last 12, make it 55 of the last 59. The Fighting Irish get a comfortable, at least 14-point win over Navy. Easily could be more, but they start the year 1-0. Big win over in Ireland, beginning their quest for a college football playoff berth in 2023. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com, our Patreon account for exclusive college football content year-round. Of course, send us some gear. We'd love to get your team's gear represented in our background for every single Gridiron Expert video. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.